The Ready Set Grow podcast is sponsored by AgExpert, software designed for Canadian agriculture. Visit them today at agexpert.ca.
Hi, everyone. This is Joe Dales with RH Accelerator, and today we're very excited to have some great guests on the Ready Set Grow podcast. Our special guest host is Diana Laternis from Regina. How are you, Diana?
Good.
And I'm really excited today. We've got a great guest. Darcy Herauf is the Director of AgExpert at Farm Credit Canada. Terrific ag technology visionary and farmer. So really excited to learn a little bit more about you, Darcy. And for the people that don't know you, can you give us a little quick intro and tell us where you're from and a bit of background?
Can do, and thanks for having me today, Joe, and good to see you, Di. So I'm born and raised in Saskatchewan, just about our home farm's 40 miles southeast of Regina. So I haven't strayed too far from home, but I've spent my whole career working in and around ag, either as a primary producer. Used to have a cow-calf operation and grain, and we sold the cows a few years ago, and I'm kind of just focused on the grain aspect of it now. And then I've always had a professional career in the ag industry. So worked at a bunch of different divisions at Farm Credit Canada. In the early 2000s, I was working with the Ministry of Ag, Federal Ministry of Ag, and their Farm Income Programs Directorate. So at the time, helping manage and support some of those programs that we were delivering, ADA, CFIP. I think it's all round up and called Ag Stability now, but I was in that ministry. And then I guess for the majority of my career at FCC, I spent 10 years in the IT department. So working with technologists, more on the banking side of supporting our banking applications and the enterprise apps that Farm Credit uses to run their business. And then about 4 years ago, I had an opportunity to come over and lead the AgExpert team. And AgExpert, for those of you that don't know, is is FCC's ag tech division. And our North Star is to just help farmers in Canada digitize their records. We have a couple applications that help them do that. One is to manage their field records, and the other one is to manage all of their accounting. So, our apps are called FCC or AgExpert Accounting and AgExpert Field. So they're pretty easy to figure out which one does what. And we're really looking for solid and simple solutions to give farmers to help them take that first step towards digitization.
Mm-hmm. So Darcy, what types of things are you seeing in the ag tech space? Because you're heavily involved in ag tech, what are some of the trends you're seeing?
That's a good question, Di. I think overall the trend is it's a busy space right now in ag technology. And there's lots of different players and there's lots of new entrants. And I actually find that quite exciting. So I think choice is good for farmers. And right now it almost seems if you want an app to do something on the farm, it's probably out there or being developed. And I find that kind of exciting. On the flip side, if I put on my farmer boots, it gets confusing. Like, who can you trust? What apps are good? Which ones aren't? Geez, it seems I need an app for every, piece of, every little thing I want to do in my farm. But the biggest trend is there's lots of investment, it seems, right now in ag tech, and there's lots of new entrants and new players bringing tools to the market. And then as a farmer, we have to maybe educate ourselves on which ones do we like, which ones don't we like, which ones do we want to use. And then, we always say the first step is start using something and, try it. So we focused on, creating solid and simple tools. So it's that first step. If you've been using a notebook all your life or the gray or black farm accounting book, this is a first step to get some of those handwritten notes into a digital solution where you can start using that data to maybe optimize your decision-making processes. But the trend to me is lots of new entrants, lots of investment. I don't know how long it's going to last, but that's what I think is the most exciting thing happening over the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, and I would kind of concur. I think there's a lot of really exciting technology coming down the pipe. I don't think we should maybe spend a minute. I'd like to just remind everybody a little bit of the history of AgExpert, because I've known it for a long time. It's probably one of the longest running evolution of company, and then being backed by FCC. And it's had some great champions over the year, Rob and Glenn, and now you. So remind us the history, because I don't think people appreciate that. And why I find that important is stability is important when you're, especially with your financial records, and having somebody like FCC backing it, and the number of clients that you are supporting across Canada, is very impressive. So if you don't mind taking a minute, Darcy, we never talk about this, but I get to be the host, so I want to hear the story again a little bit from your perspective.
Yeah, that's good. Something we take for granted, Joe, internally. But what we call FCC AgExpert now actually started by a few people in Regina in the mid 80s, and they started a company called Settler Accounting. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of, I don't know if it was the first digital accounting program, but it had to be up there.
One of the first. Yeah, one of the first.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty confident saying it was the first one built specifically for agriculture. But yeah, it was a company started in Regina by a few people that helped. They saw a need to help farmers with their accounting using, personal computers, which were new at that time, right? Where people were finally getting personal computers in their homes. So Settler Accounting had a good run and built up a really strong customer base. In the early 2000s, 2004, I believe, was the official date. FCC decided to buy it. And it fits nicely with our business and our mandate of improving and helping Canadian agriculture. So in 2004, we bought the Settler brand. Funny enough, we still get calls from customers that are running Settler Gold to help with support. So for those of you running Settler Gold, good job. It's just interesting to see that we haven't had that brand in the market for 16, 17 years, and we still have people on their desktop running old Settler Gold software. But in 2004, FCC bought Settler, and we rebranded it under the AgExpert banner. And then since then, there's been tons and lots of improvements on that desktop application up until about 2018, where we launched our first online cloud version of AgExpert Field. So we used to have our desktop apps of Field Manager Pro, and I should say used to have. We still support and build on desktop, but we are making a transition to cloud applications. But what we really have is a long-standing team. Like, we still have people on our team that came over from Settler, so we have a ton of experience on the ag tech side that we take for granted. Where these people have a lot of experience and knowledge and have seen the evolution of the product, and further that the customer needs on digitization over 25 plus years, some of our support people. So yeah, we've built on it. We've made the transition to the cloud, where we now have our old desktop apps are still running and working, but we've launched new cloud apps. So our cloud apps are AgExpert Field and AgExpert Accounting, and that's where we see the future. And we want to make sure we have the safest, most secure, trusted brand in agriculture to help farmers, feel confident when they're using our applications. And the other thing that we want to do is we still see a large majority of farmers not using digital tools or not digitizing their records. Mm-hmm. And we thought, when we were talking to our customers, or Canadian farmers, complexity was the number one reason they were getting scared away from digitizing, and then trust. So we, to that point, we focus on simple and solid. Where we started, I guess, 4 or 5 years ago, before we wrote a line of code for our new cloud applications, our development team actually went out to different farms in and around Saskatchewan, and just spent a day in the life of a farmer. So they all got most of them got ride around in a drill with the farmer, so they can see the different types of working environments. You're in a dark cab, then you jump outside and it's bright outside and it's dusty, it's dirty. Farmers, or at least I can only speak for my farmers' hands. They're never clean. They're full of grease or dirt, or I don't always like touching my phone. But it's just we wanted to get that type of feel so that our development team understood how these applications are being used in the field. not necessarily sitting behind a desk in my house in Regina, but how they're actually being used. So yeah, that's kind of the history of it. We started as desktop apps. We built that customer base. I think we're across all of our customers. I checked this morning. We're at 12,600 users on the nose. So we have a very large customer base for 2020, which would have been our third growing season. In AgExpert Field, we're over 3 million acres managed in our application. In accounting, I haven't checked, but accounting, we just it's in a point now where we're starting to move this in or I guess starting in December, we're seeing more and more customers starting to move on their accounting platform from desktop accounting to cloud accounting. So yeah, it's busy times, Joe, and we've had AgExpert's had quite a run from settler to now, but I can even see the next 5 years, that change curve even going more as technology rapidly advances, right?
Yeah, and I don't think people appreciate, the patience that's required for the software business. And, I know I certainly appreciate the investment from an organization like Farm Credit Canada to develop this and bring it along. It hasn't been easy. Software is a tough game, especially in agriculture. So congratulations, Darcy and team, on your progress. I'm very, very excited to see what the next few years hold.
Thanks for that, Joe. And we keep saying internally, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And agriculture is not a 2 or 3 or 4 year game. It's generational, and we want to have the software that supports farmers from one generation to the next.
So Darcy, what kind of data decisions are made with the software? Like if you could give us some examples, then people could kind of see how they would utilize it.
Sure. I guess I'll start with our AgExpert Field application, Di. And we've done a ton of market research on different needs and talked to a lot of farmers before we start building features. But I think the biggest, most important one to me in field is not just digitizing or tracking everything you do on that field to grow your crop, but we really try to boil it down to an in-season cost of production number. So that the concept of field is everything revolves around a farmer's field. And then we track every pass on that field throughout the growing season that farmers do to grow that crop. So spraying, seeding, spraying, my family, spraying, and then swathing, harvest. All of those activities we're continually tracking throughout the year, and then we're applying cost numbers to them, so that at any point in the growing season, I can look on my phone or on my desktop and on my phone and know where I'm at from a financial perspective on each individual field or each individual crop. And I think that's that's something that is missing for a lot of farmers. They probably know kind of in a gut range, plus or minus 50% sometimes. Some maybe plus or minus 10%. But actually knowing that, so when you're making a decision, having that number in front of you, it just gives you confidence. So we always talk about optimizing farmers' decision-making process. I have a belief that farmers are good business people. And they're good business people, whether or not they use a pen and paper or a digital tool. But as complexity goes up, as risk goes up, it's nice to have that, your phone with the numbers right in front of you to help optimize that decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrific. I'm really excited too about the new features and the new software on how easy it is to move from paper and manual to using the phone, using the cloud-based. So makes the data entry a little bit more seamless and easy. Can you talk a little bit about some of the savings in time and benefits of that?
Yeah, that's a good question, Joe. And the first way to start for most people with digitizing using field or accounting is using your fingers. To be honest, it's your thumbs on the entering the data. And we've tried to make that as simple and easy as possible. So field is more of a mobile kind of user experience, where most of the data entry for field is done on your phone in season. And one of the things I've stressed with the team is, if you're spraying, you have 3 minutes basically to get your field record entered. If I hit my auto steer and I'm trying to go down, if I'm lucky enough to have a half mile uninterrupted swath, 2 to 3 minutes should be the maximum amount of time it takes to enter that field record. Then you're done. You can finish what you need on that field, enter the information at the end, and carry on. So I think right now we focus on having it as easy as it can be to do manual data entry. And I really think the future, Joe, is being able to partner with other companies and having that data be entered once in any system, whether it's right from the machinery or entered from us in our system and shared. But I think the future is enter once in any system and use it multiple times to solve multiple business problems for farmers. So to that point, we have a integration already with John Deere My Op Center, where any of the activities that you do in your John Deere equipment and My Op Center can be brought over to AgExpert in 3 clicks. And then you can apply your cost of production to it. So the numbers stay on the AgExpert side, but you can bring those activities across from John Deere. So you don't have to do the fat, greasy thumbs and dark, bumpy cabs activities, where you can just bring it over from My Op Center, and then you have all that power in AgExpert at your fingertips. From there, you can then reuse that data to apply for crop insurance, to maybe fill out your hail insurance forms a lot more easier. And I'm focusing on field, similar use cases on the accounting side, right? You enter your invoices or your expenses, a little bit at a time throughout the year. When it comes time to submit your GST report, it's literally a 2-button click to submit your GST to CRA. So it's all about, helping farmers get out of the office, actually, not spending more time in the office.
Mhm. Well, simplicity is super important because, as you've indicated, they don't have a lot of time, and then they get the data in the system, and then they can compare year over year. Some of the more integral benefits are, comparing your cost of production or things that you purchase, or for the accounting side, is it cheaper to lease or is it cheaper to buy? Those type of decisions are super important. And so, yeah, Darcy, you guys have been doing a great job on the software. And so what are some of the other, the trust factor? You hear a lot about farmers saying, well, people have our data and they're using it for alternate purposes. So can you tell us a little bit about that trust factor, and what is AgExpert doing about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Di, and thanks for bringing it up. So one of the things we did early on is Farm Credit AgExpert, FCC AgExpert was the first company in Canada to become ag data transparent. And all that means is that farmers that use AgExpert software, they own their data and they get to really choose and control of who they share it with. And at the end of the day, we just want to make it easy for farmers to feel that, if they're sharing their data with an ag data transparent company, they know the rules of engagement. So we're being very transparent with how we use their data. And we're being very transparent with how we allow farmers to share it with other ag data transparent companies. So we think the ADT seal is quite important for both ourselves and the Canadian industry. It's an international seal, actually. It started in the States. We felt we couldn't build a better one, so we partnered with ADT and brought it north of the border. And we're seeing lots of success with partners and other ag tech companies in Canada now adopting that ag data transparent seal. And we think it's going to be very important going forward that farmers feel they have some ownership and control of their data. And when they share it, they know the rules of engagement. So they know what to expect when they share it with another company. There's no, there should be no surprises.
That's great. Yeah, no, I think it's a growing issue, and I'm glad you guys have taken a leadership role on that and really clearly defined your position on on data and ownership and so on. I'm interested. We're testing rural broadband connectivity. All those issues these days, especially with COVID and the kids having to stay home and do their schooling and stuff online. What are the connectivity needs of AgExpert? Do the farmers need to do anything special? Is this a heavy app?
Yeah, that's a good question, Joe. and it's a moving target. It seems all the time. I know
Sure.
we spend a lot of time on tuning our applications. What we're saying or asking your customers now is you do need 10 meg download speed on your internet connection. Or it'll work on 3G. LTE is better for your phone, and we do have offline mode. So if your connectivity is a little sketchy or it drops every once in a while, you can still continue to work using AgExpert. And then as soon as you get your signal back or your internet comes back, it'll upload and it'll all work seamless that way. But yeah, connectivity is a tough one, and it's a really tough one to try to figure out. We have customers that have been using our cloud app now for 2 or 3 years and have had no issues with connectivity. And we can go have a customer 50 miles away, and they're finding they don't have maybe the bandwidth or the reliability of the signal that they need. So it's a moving target. That said, our application is quite light, and it will work offline if you have I don't know, lack of a better term, sketchy internet, I guess, if it drops and comes back. But yeah, that's moving to the cloud. I think rural internet needs to get better overall, and it is getting better. And I think we're making investments in it as a federal government. They announced a $2 billion plus investment, but right now I don't see many farms that it wouldn't work on. But you do need a decent. I shouldn't say decent. 10 meg download is the minimum requirement for your desktop or for your home internet connection.
So Darcy, if somebody wanted to download AgExpert, where would they find it? And what type of support do you guys provide, like to get started?
No, great question, Di. AgExpert.ca, you can go to it. You can see all of our different applications and platforms. And right now we have a free for anyone to use basic application. And that's kind of like a trial version. So if you're, if you have some basic needs, you can get started on the basic side. You can enter a transaction, you can enter a field record, you can set up your farm, but it doesn't have some of the nice, easy to use features that are on the premium side of the application. So AgExpert.ca, or you can go on your App Store or Google Play Store and download the apps right to your phone. Our premium is $3.99 per application or $4.99, and you can bundle any 2 apps. So you can have field and accounting for $4.99, or if you just want to use one, it's $3.99. It's a yearly fee. And yeah, it's pretty easy to get started. With the premium side also comes support. So that's one of the things I am most proud of at AgExpert. We have world-class support. We have people that have been supporting software for 20 plus years and supporting our software for 20 plus years. And they get excited about talking to farmers every day. Like they love being on the phones helping farmers solve problems. So I think it's underused overall. I think last year, that said, we had 28,000 support calls last year through our customer care center, and we're trending to the same this year. But I think that just goes to show that we want our customers to phone support. We don't want them banging their head against the computer screen or slamming the keyboard. If you have any issues or trouble on the premium side, phone our customer care center and we'll get you taken care of.
That's terrific. Congrats on that. What have we missed? Is there anything else our audience should know about AgExpert or the organization?
Yeah, I don't know. We covered quite a bit, Joe. I guess what I want people to leave with about AgExpert is we are in it for the long haul. We've been around for a while. We might be one of the oldest ag tech companies in Canada, maybe the world. I haven't done the research, so don't quote me on that. But we've been around since really the start of the personal computer making its entrance into people's homes. We have a team that really breathes agriculture and is really focused on solving problems for farmers. And I think that's when I look at digital tools, I think that's our whole point of existence. We have to make life easier for our customers. If we're adding problems, that's not, we're not doing them any good. It's about being able to create that solid and simple application to help farmers just spend less time in the office and have things more available at point of need. And I think that's our North Star, is just to help Canadian farms start digitizing their records. And we see a huge benefit for that for the industry overall.
Mhm. So Darcy, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you to talk about this more, or where could they connect with you?
Well, I'm pretty easy to find. You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @farmer, PHARMER00. You can find me on there. You can phone Joe Dales. He'll forward you my contact info. I'm also on LinkedIn, or you can phone our customer care center at AgExpert and just ask for me. They'll forward you a call or an email my way from our support team.
That's great. Thanks, Darcy. And we're looking forward to getting back together, face to face as we get through these challenging times and see you at the next farm show or event. So to all our listeners, thanks for listening to the Ready, Set, Grow podcast. You can find them on YouTube, or you can find them on the rhaccelerator.com website, just clicking on the podcast link. So until next time, thanks for joining us.